Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. We are glad you are here. We got a great show for you today as we round out the week. And I just want to give everybody a reminder that if you head on over to canarycry.party, you can listen to the Canary Cry mixtape volume 1, chock-a-block full of the first volume of publicly available Canary Cry News Talk music created by the producers, helped distributed with the help of producers as well. Saw for Yahweh, thank you very much for that. So go check it out. There's all sorts of other great stuff over there at canarycry.party as well. While you're at it, I suggest that you sign up for our newsletter if you haven't already, because you will receive emails 3 times a week right before we go live with all the sources and art for the show. All right, everybody, here we go. Buckle your seatbelts, stay hydrated. A boom shakalaka.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
Yeah. It is August 5th, 2022. We are live to tape on episode 518. And today, Undead Oink Oink. And signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live from California, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's immersion phenomenon, Revelation-ish. Not quite Revelation, but it's Revelation-ish.
Ish. Well, that's good. That's, there's all sorts of people claiming to be tracking the timeline of the events of the book of Revelation. But, sometimes it's good to just kind of check in on Revelation-ish. Mm-hmm. Well, Gonz, are you ready for a breakdown of today's show?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. All right. We're going to be starting out, you guessed it, checking in with the Undead Oink Oink, the zombie pigs. What does this mean for the future of healthcare and the return of Jesus Christ? Then we will be checking in with our buddy FLIPPY there. Some more automation for the already automated cars. Automation on automation. We don't need humans, say the robots in unison. Then, of course, we'll be checking back in with China and our beloved Nancy Pelosi, such a brave soul. Some of the ramifications, the consequences, if you will, from her Taiwan trip, and some more breakdowns of how she's defending her decision. Then we'll be checking in with the beast system. That's right, it continues to develop around us, and we'll let you know what to look out for, what to expect. And then, of course, we couldn't do a beast system section without checking in with the metaverse and how the military is activating their cyber warriors. Then, of course, after that break, we will be checking in with COVID, the vaccine, monkeypox, the pandemics forever, baby. And we couldn't do it without our best buddy, Fauci. As well, we'll be checking in with Daddy Fauci, some of his new things that he's been trying to get out there into the blogosphere. And then at the end of the show, we'll be rounding it out with a Nephilim update. That's right, don't miss it. But Gons, let's start with our lead stories.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system. It's got to be biblical.
Yeah, so a lot of people, once again, it's really easy on certain days to know what to talk about because we get like a bunch of emails, we get text messages, we get people letting us know that, hey, check this out. And, a lot of good research that's been done from people, just, producers out there. So we appreciate all of it. But the story comes from the New York Times. And the headline here is, "A reversible form of death? Scientists revive cells in dead pigs' organ." Yay.
Yes, and some old school Canary Cry listeners might be thinking, hey, this sounds pretty familiar. Well, yes, it is pretty familiar because we've been tracking stuff like this for 10 years.
Yeah. The article here is interesting. It says the pigs had been lying dead in a lab for an hour. No blood was circulating in their bodies. Their hearts were still, their brain waves flat. Then a group of Yale scientists, which is where the skull and bones originate. So there's that connection.
Yeah, I was going to say, if any scientist could bring pigs back to life, it would be the Yale scientists for so many reasons.
Yeah. Then a group of Yale scientists pumped a custom-made solution into the dead pigs' bodies with a device similar to a heart-lung machine. What happened next adds questions to what science considers the wall between life and death. Although the pigs,
does science consider the wall between life and death?
Yeah,
that doesn't seem like a science thing. It seems like more of a spiritual concept.
Sure,
but okay.
Sure. Although the pigs were not considered conscious in any way, their seemingly dead cells revived. Their hearts began to beat as the solution, which the scientists called Organ X, circulated in veins and arteries. Cells in their organs, including the heart, liver, kidneys, and brain, were functioning again, and the animals never got stiff like a typical dead pig. Other pigs dead for an hour were treated with ECMO, a machine that pumped blood through their bodies. They became stiff, their organs swelled and became damaged, their blood vessels collapsed, and they had purple spots on their backs where blood pooled. Now, first of all, where's PETA? I don't know why PETA is okay with...
No, PETA's funding the experiment. That's their whole thing. They want to bring no animal death whatsoever. We must keep all these pigs alive or at least undead because it's the natural way of things.
Yeah. The researchers say their goals are to one day increase the supply of human organs for transplant by allowing doctors to obtain viable organs long after death. And they say they hope their technology might also be used to prevent severe damage to hearts after a devastating heart attack or brains after a major stroke.
Oh my gosh.
Must preserve the organs for transplant and selling, I'm sure.
Talk about they shall seek death and death shall flee from them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you die in a car crash or something and your body gets taken to the hospital. You're walking up to those pearly gates. You're getting your name read out of the book and you're just entering heaven. Finally, the promise has been fulfilled. And boom, they start pumping your body filled with solution X or whatever.
Yeah.
And boom, you're back in your body, but you can't move. You're just now sitting there living as a sort of farm animal to have your organs removed.
Yeah, so this is where it gets kind of interesting. So Stephen Latham, a bioethicist at Yale University who worked closely with the group, said it was the first step, saying that, this is a while before humans, or we're going to use this in humans, allegedly, right? That's what they tell the public. The group, led by Dr. Nenad Sestin, professor of neuroscience, of comparative medicine, of genetics, and of psychiatry, wow, multidisciplined man, at the Yale School of Medicine, was stunned by its ability to revive cells. Quote, "We did not know what to expect," said Dr. David Andrejevic, also a neuroscientist at Yale. All these Yale scientists.
Yeah.
And one of the
it's
authors
almost
of the
as
paper.
if they have some sort of dark secret club of influential people who are working behind the scenes to accomplish a shared agenda.
Yeah. There was the clip that I had a clip from, I think, ABC a long time ago. It was like 2000 or 2001 when ABC did a report on the Skull and Bones, and somebody had filmed a ritual, and you just hear this person yelling, "Kiss the skull, kiss the skull." That's an age of deceit, by the way.
Yeah.
So this doctor here, Dr. David Andrejevic, said, quote, "Everything we restored was incredible to us," end quote. Others not associated with the work were similarly astonished. Quote, "It's unbelievable, mind-blowing," said Nita Farahani, a Duke law professor who studies ethical, legal, and social implications of emerging technologies. And Dr. Farahani added, "The work raises questions about the definition of death. Quote, we presume death is a thing. It is a state of being," she said. Quote, "Are there forms of death that are reversible or not? Question mark. And it goes into the history a little bit here of what they had done before. So Organ X is this company that's doing this experiment. Yeah, go ahead.
Make a comment real quick.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, what a strange sort of philosophical position for her to be taking. I mean, I don't know what in response, like what she was responding to there, but it sounds like they've had some been doing some brainstorming on how to sort of justify the idea of reversing death. Oh, it's not a thing. It's not an entity. It's just a state of being. Okay, we change people's state of beings all the time. No need. Don't think about it too much.
Right. It goes into the history here where they did it to. They did a similar experiment to dead brains, or the brains of dead pigs, which I think we reported on, and it was called Brain X. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's Brain X. I have the study here from April 2019. Restoration of brain circulation and cellular function hours post-mortem. And one of the things they said in this abstract of this article, or this scientific paper, is that the brain, the synapses were responding, but there was no electrocorticographic activity. So there wasn't like electrical activity, but there were synaptic activity, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah. The hardware was moving.
Right.
The hardware was responding. They just they claim, as far as they understand it, which is not very well, by the way, that there was no software running. Right.
So, yeah, that was Brain X. Now, this is Organ X. And let me continue on with the article. The Organ X solution contained nutrients, anti-inflammatory medications, drugs to prevent cell death, nerve blockers, substances that dampen the activity of neurons, and prevented any possibility of the pigs regaining consciousness. Oh, is that all it is? That's all it is. It's just
purposefully.
Just a little thing to dampen the neuronic activity, and then
Yeah, we're gonna bring them back as them, so they don't actually become conscious again and break from their restraints and murder all the scientists in this building as some sort of zombie pig zombie revenge plot.
When they treated the dead pigs, the investigators took precautions to make sure the animals did not suffer. The pigs were oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time saying that word.
Anesthetized.
Anesthetized. Thank you. before they were killed by stopping their hearts, and the deep anesthesia continued throughout the experiment. In addition, the nerve blockers in the Organ X solution stop nerves from firing in order to ensure the brain was not active. The researchers
Oh my gosh.
also chilled the animals to slow chemical reaction.
Guns, this implies
Yep.
this implies that when they do bring them back to life, that they're dangerous, and they're conscious, and they're feeling pain, and they're they will take revenge.
That's what I'm
if you
saying.
don't anesthetize them beforehand, then you're in trouble. The implications of the very fact that they anesthetized the dead bodies of pigs before bringing them back to life is a clear signal that if they did not do this, the pigs either would suffer or would become full zombies and would eat everybody's brains.
Yeah, individual brain cells were alive, but there was no indication of any organized global nerve activity in the brain.
Yeah, because you were anesthetized them. You just said you put nerve blockers. They're like, yeah, we filled them with nerve blockers. Nothing's going to happen in that brain. And it was successful. We brought them back to life. And don't worry, there's no nerve activity.
Now, this is where
That's wild.
This is where it gets weird. It's already weird, but just, for these scientists. There was one startling finding. The pigs treated with Organ X jerked their heads when the researchers injected an iodine contrast solution for imaging. Dr. Latham emphasized that while the reason for the movement was not known, there was no indication of any involvement of the brain. Because
you put all the anesthesia in them and the nerve blockers. Of course, there was no signal.
And I think this is the big takeaway here. Yale has filed for a patent on the technology.
There you go.
Yale's going to resurrect a bunch of people, or at least preserve the organs and sell it and make a lot of money.
I mean, this is. It is very suspicious that they have to do what they do to keep the being from actually getting up and walking around and feeling and being conscious. But I mean, you're talking full-on zombies.
Yeah,
this is just full-on zombies, and this is not some bizarre backwoods alternative news site. This is the New York Times.
Yeah, New York Times. I like how they put this too.
We've gone full mainstream, baby.
Yeah, they talk about how, when there's in most countries, or this is a quote, in most countries, transplant teams wait 2 hours for patients to die. Then he said if the patient is not yet dead, they do not try to retrieve organs. As a result, 50 to 60% of patients who died after life support was seized and whose families wanted to donate their organs cannot be donors. So we got a problem. Half the people that want to be donors can't. So we got to find a solution, literally, to inject.
We got to bring them back to life, keep them anesthetized, or else their family might want them back. But we can't have that because we got to harvest their organs.
We got a quote from
that's
Brendan.
Incredible.
Yeah, we got a quote from Brendan Parent. He's a lawyer and ethicist, and he says, "Quote." By the accepted medical and legal definition of death, these pigs were dead, Mr. Parent said. I like how his last name is Parent. But he added, quote, a critical question is what function and what kind of function would change things? Would the pigs still be dead if the group did not use nerve blockers and its solution in their brains functioned again? Those are ethical questions to be asked. So there you go, zombie pigs.
This kind of fits in an interesting way with the necrobotics that we talked about.
Yes.
Using the dead corpses of insects as robots, and here we go. What is it? A week later, we're talking about potentially reanimating anybody.
A little more intense though, because this is straight up reviving. And of course, the part that really jumped out at me is not so much that the experiment took place and these animals were jerking around or whatever. It's more so that the reaction of the scientists. We were astonished. We were mind blown. And because that reminds me of Revelation 13:3, where one of the beasts had a mortal head wound and he was healed and people were amazed. They marveled. They wondered. And then they followed the beast. And it's just a very interesting parallel where it's like, oh, there's a similar reaction. And of course they're going, hey, we're not using it in humans yet, but hey, we're saving that for the big finale, the big Antichrist finale.
Right.
So, and also the pigs being Neuralink, they're doing a bunch of stuff with the pigs and the brains.
Sure.
Jesus sending demons into pigs. This is all the pig references that you would want, but why pigs? Why is it always the pigs?
I don't know. But what a exciting beginning to this Friday's show, Gons.
Mm-hmm.
It's Friday, It's Friday, It's Friday, It's Friday, It's Friday, It's Friday.
Yay! It's Friday. We're rounding out the week. I'm excited for the weekend, Gons. How about you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Is it opposite day also? Is that what I'm hearing?
What do you mean?
You don't sound very excited. You just want to do the show every day, nonstop, no breaks, huh?
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yes. I was thinking the other day. I can't
tell if he's paying attention to me or if he's just some sort of reanimated pig corpse.
Yeah, they just pumped the fluid, and I died a while ago. I'm just a Yale experiment at this point. No, I do want to just say I was doing some budget work yesterday, and I am just so grateful for all the producers. Like, you guys are making it happen, like making life and family happen at a level I don't think they even fully understand. So I just want to say thank you and appreciate all the producers who support the show.
Yeah, you're sounding very optimistic, but both of us were doing personal finances and trying to get a hold of how badly the
world is exploding.
Inflation was affecting things, what was going on, and we were both in a state of terror while we did this. Yeah. But we're extremely grateful. I don't know if the emus really even understand what it takes to keep food in their little trough every day. Yeah. So thank you very much, producers. Any personal notes before we keep going?
That is it. That is my personal note. It is a personal thank you to all the producers, which I think I need to do more often. Not that we don't thank our producers, but just really feeling the love yesterday.
Gons is just feeling a real sense of gratitude.
Yes, gratitude.
And, not for and to be clear, the sense of gratitude you're feeling is sort of for the whole situation that we're in altogether.
Yeah.
Even though producership is down technically 30% since last month, the fact that there is any producers and that we get to do this show and really do something that we feel that the Lord is calling us to and that the world needs is an incredible opportunity. So thank you to our producers and especially our executive producer for today's episode.
Executive producers.
That's right. Along with everybody who participates in the value for value model, we call them producers, there are executive producers who are those who recognize that this show cannot exist without people who get value from the show, putting value back in. And the executive producers are those who understand that, and they are honest and generous with the value that they receive and carry a heavy load when the rest of the listeners and producers are just trying to survive. So we appreciate our executive producers very much. And today we have an executive producer, and that is... You guessed it.
Wow.
It's a three-peat Gons executive producer, Mr. Mondak Bakken.
Wow. Complete the hat trick, Mr. Mondak Bakken.
You know what? It is unfortunate. I do not think that we had a jingle boy come in with an executive producership streak jingle.
Yeah.
Unless you saw one. Did you get one coming in?
I didn't see one come in.
I'm going to have to hop in the Discord and talk to those jingle boys because we need an executive producer streak jingle because executive producer, Mr. Mondak Bakken, has executive produced the show 3 episodes in a row all week long. This week of shows is brought to you by Mr. Mondak Bakken. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And today he comes in with $101.11.
Wow, thank you.
Why don't you give him the streak because he is heating up, baby.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Okay. What happened to my streak jingle? Oh, no.
I don't know.
What did... I literally was just holding on to it and looking at it, and it is gone.
It's disappeared.
Why would that happen? This is very bizarre.
You snuffed it out of existence.
He is heating up.
He's heating up.
So thank you for that. I'll find that streak thing in a moment here. Hold on.
Yeah, maybe we might have to jump in and make an executive producer streak jingle ourselves here if one doesn't show up. Mr. Mondak back and sends in a note here. Basil and Gons, since I work in the oil fields, I frequently travel back home by flying. On one of my flights, I sat next to... Listen to this.
I know. This is a great note.
I sat next to a meteorologist from Antarctica. Ooh. He tried to recruit me to work down there. He claimed there are all kinds of jobs available down there, but that there are only flights in and out of Antarctica 4 months out of the year because it's too cold down there the other 8 months. I was very excited about the prospect of finding out if it was an ice ball or a continent. I also thought I could be an inside man for the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, we specifically made a call out for somebody to go get a job in Antarctica, become our boots on the ground Antarctica producer. Let's see here. Inside man for the show and report on all the strange happenings down there. However, my wife said absolutely not. Well, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks again for all you guys do. I'll be praying for you. Sincerely, Mr. Mondak Backen. P.S. There's a P.S. here. Sorry. I can't believe that the Flat Earth Society has yet to send a contingent of double agents down to Antarctica to expose the globetards. Yeah, I can't believe it either. Get it together, Flat Earther Society.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Mondak Backen, our executive producer for today.
Where'd you find this?
And happy wife, happy life. So, I'd go with the wife's suggestion there. Although you can say, hey, you can come with me. Bring the kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just got to get a wife who's down to go work at the general store in Antarctica as well. I mean, the way society is going, Antarctica is the place to be, baby.
Hey, you can
get you back in the survival mode.
Yeah, you can help the penguins.
And if you don't have a happy wife or a happy life, Antarctica is a great place to run. Real quick, I want to mention the meetups, canarycrymeetups.com.
Okay.
Canary Cry Meetup.
There's the Houston, Galveston, Texas meetup, August 27th at 7:33 p.m. Noah's Ark Bar and Grill in Bay Cliff, Texas. Email davyfrost@gmail.com. That's DAVEY frost@gmail.com. If you're in the Houston, Galveston, Bay Cliff area, head on over to the meetup on the 27th. Oh, I see we need to update the flyer that's on the website. Do you have the new flyer that came in?
Yeah, so I have Dove sent an updated flyer that I didn't have a chance to actually update it. But yeah.
I could probably do that real quick.
Yeah, you can probably do that.
There you go. Go to the meetups. We'll see you at the meetup.
Mm-hmm.
This is fun!
And for those who are just now being reminded about the value for value model and the fact that this show it just straight up cannot happen without the participation of our producers in the value for value system. It's not too late to become a producer for today's episode. Just head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. Or canarycry.party. You can become a producer there as well. Okay, time to keep on moving.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. And now there's nothing we can do about it. Watch out, Oregonians, because over here at the Robot Report, one of our arch nemesis when it comes to reporting on robots, but I guess we're using them as a source now. Stratom launches autonomous ground vehicle refueling station. Dun, dun, dun. Stratom is a Colorado-based veteran-owned robotics company that is helping automate various logistics processes for the United States military. Today, the company launched Rapid, its autonomous refueling, recharging, liquid transfer system for rugged environments and a variety of applications. The solution leverages an industrial robot arm to autonomously locate a refueling port on a vehicle and then deliver the fuel. The system is ruggedized. That's my new favorite word. I like to think someday I could become ruggedized. The system is ruggedized and designed to be deployed in the field in adverse and difficult conditions. Stratom's core autonomy software drives the entire system, and the solution is versatile enough so that it can be configured for any number of mounting use cases and fuel types. Rapid is adaptable to different vehicle types and can be deployed for a variety of applications, from mining, warehouse operations, trucking, aviation, cargo movement, to high-volume container refilling and the transport of other materials, including water, other liquids, and hazardous wastes. Those are the three categories. I love them. In water, other liquids, and hazardous waste.
What are other liquids? Like orange juice? Or are we talking the liquids that revive pigs?
Yeah, other liquids. Orange juice, seltzer water, and Organ X. You just get this autonomized robotic arm to start pumping pigs up, with dead pigs up, or humans or whatever, with Organ X. And boom, baby. You've got the autonomous voodoo practitioner making zombies out of corpses. The system can be used in autonomous and human-operated applications. It can be operated remotely so that the refueling operator can remain in another vehicle, bunker, or safe distance away. Vehicle operators do not need to exit their vehicles during the refueling process.
All right, they can check their emails on their phones.
Yeah. Quote, autonomy is transforming how we live, work, learn, and entertain ourselves. I thought this was an interesting part of the article because, we hear about autonomous vehicles, autonomous robots, autonomous things like that. And in that context, you don't really think of the other use of autonomy, autonomous.
Yeah.
Autonomy being part of freedom and human existence and free will, and having autonomy being a very important part of a happy and fulfilling life. So when I read the sentence, autonomy is transforming how we live, work, learn, and entertain ourselves, I'm like, wow, you're right. Autonomy is really important. Oh, you're talking about robots taking over everything that gives us any sort of meaning.
Not human autonomy. We're talking robot autonomy.
It's the robot autonomy that will take away the human autonomy.
Yeah.
Trends are increasingly showing that applications of this technology center around autonomous vehicles and the deployment of autonomous fleets, said Mark Gordon, president and CEO of Stratom. Quote, as the world moves toward an autonomous future, why bring humans back in the loop? Why?
Why do that?
It's the CEO literally saying, why do we even need to bring humans into the process? We don't even need humans. At Stratom, we automate monotonous, difficult, and dangerous tasks to help keep organizations.
It's not automate, it's automate. Interesting.
Is that what I said?
Well, you said automate. I'm not following along with the text, so...
No, it's automate.
Oh, it's automate. Okay.
At Stratom, we automate monotonous, difficult, or dangerous tasks to help keep organizations and their most valuable asset, their people, operating safely and at peak efficiency.
Peak efficiency, like not having to get out of your car.
That's right. Peak efficiency. You keep humans out of the loop, okay? That's how you have an efficient organization. And I like the framing, and the framing of this fits what we've been following with the FLIPPY update for 7 years now, which is, replacing the humans with robots keeps the humans safe. Like, yeah, because they're not there. There's no humans, so they're perfectly safe at home in their Amazon Prime nutrient pod, playing, metaverse games or whatever.
Well, this is part of the autonomous cars. Part of what's because we've been tracking robot arms for a while, and I think the first time that people really might experience the robot arm may come at some kind of fueling station, because you have the tradition, the chivalrous thing to do, which is the man steps out and fills the tank of the cars and all this kind of stuff. The story is interesting because we skipped out on a story from a couple weeks ago that was also a robot arm. Ford testing robotic EV charging as aid for disabled drivers. Oh, those disabled people, they can't get out of the car to recharge their vehicles. So why don't we just get a robot arm? So that's Ford, right? So of course they're saying for disabled drivers. I think that's going to be for anybody who's on their Zoom call, or trying to listen to an audiobook or something and can't be bothered to stop to get out of the car or something. So
when they talk about autonomous robots helping the disabled or the sick or the elderly, that is, essentially it's like when Democrats talk about black people. They're using them as a tool to help progress their agenda. But we know in the end that it's not really about them at all. You use the disabled, the sick, the elderly as the sort of narrative.
Wait a minute.
And then it ultimately is forever. It's just to get humans out of their jobs.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm watching this footage, this Ford, preview of the robot arm charging one of the Ford electric cars for disabled people. And yes, the robot arm, comes out. It plugs itself into the side of the car to charge it, and then the disabled woman gets out of the car, and she's like walking to her trunk and pulls out a wheelchair.
Gons, disability can be invisible. Okay. All right, Gons.
All right.
Disability can look like anything or like nothing at all. That is what I learned.
It's just a weird thing. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, but you're right. I mean, and as far as taking our jobs, Oregon, I keep talking about how like the jobs that are getting taken are for now the jobs that are usually the beginner jobs. They're for teens getting their first job, learning what it means to show up on time, do a job, and go. The real sort of social building of what it means to have a job. These are the jobs getting taken over by robots. Oregon, I believe, is the only state where you can't pump your own gas. You need somebody else to do it for you.
Gotta eat your avocado toast, man. I can't put this thing down.
The whole reason for this rule, because it's survived many rounds of people trying to get rid of this law in Oregon, and the one thing that really has kept that rule around is like, hey, it's a good job for teens. Okay, we're just gonna let the teens get their first job. They'll pump gas. It'll be fine. It's good for society. Well, sorry, Oregon. Well, now maybe Oregon might have it right now, where everybody else will be having robots pumping their gas. Oregon will still have humans, and that'll be it'll be seen as so backward and quaint. Yeah, but there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day.
Yeah, and if you're in Oregon, there is a meetup coming up. We'll mention more about that later.
Flippy 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Go to canarycry.party. Put it in your URL. Canarycry.party is a website with a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, how to produce the show, how to connect with us and the community.
Welcome to Canary Cry Party. It's the place you wanna be. So stay. Welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay, Canary Cry, don't party.
That's right. You know the drill. Go listen to Ravel over there at canarycry.party. You can listen to Ravel. It's a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's a PhD in biblical interpretation. We explore scripture, society, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. You can also check out the Canary Cry mixtape volume 1, baby. It is over there at canarycry.party. You can listen to it right there on the link tree, but you can also find it on Spotify. You can download the album over at Bandcamp with some, a value for value model type of situation there. So go check it out. Canary Cry mixtape volume 1. And of course, you'll find other links to things like the Canary Cry Clips channel, which is very important for your daily edification. Canary Cry budget or appetite. Go to Canary Cry
Content
Clips on
consumption.
YouTube and Odyssey, where you can find this episode, but it'll be all clipped out into smaller, shareable, careable, bite-sized pieces, segment by segment. So it's easy to share, easy to review information. It's awesome. Canary Cry Clips. Go ahead and text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226. And you'll start getting text alerts when we go live. That's right. 3 text messages a week right before we go live. We send out the links. We let you know if there's any news. And it's really fun. Thanks for everybody who continues to sign up for that. And, of course, canarycrymeetups.com. Go to a meetup. The next one is Houston, Galveston on the 27th of August. There you go.
Chinese news. Welcome to Chinese news.
It comes from China.
Does such a visit will result in the U.S. seeing quote-unquote consequences.
Consequences. So, Pelosi, she's doing her thing, man. This is CNN.com. We've got, the consequences are starting to reveal themselves. The tension is growing, as everybody knew that it would. But, Pelosi, she had a legacy to make. CNN Politics is... got a headline here. White House summoned Chinese ambassador to condemn provocations after Pelosi's Taiwan visit. They summoned him. Summoned the ambassador, Biden said as he licked his ice cream cone and wandered off into the night. Let's see here. The White House summoned China's ambassador on Thursday to condemn China's irresponsible military activities near Taiwan as tensions continue to escalate in the region. Following U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to the island this week, quote, after China's actions overnight, we summoned PRC Ambassador Qin Gang to the White House to demarche? Huh, what is that word? DEMARCHE. You look that up for me?
Demarche.
Yeah, to demarche.
Maybe they didn't listen
him.
to us. Maybe they meant demooch.
To demarch him about the PRC's provocative actions. We condemned the PRC's military actions, which are irresponsible, at odds with our long-standing goal of maintaining peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications, John Kirby, said in a statement to CNN.
Demarche is a course of action, a diplomatic or political initiative or maneuver. Petition
They
or
have
protest
a pronunciation guide.
Yeah, hold on, let's see.
Demarche.
See, this is
Demarche.
Do it again.
Demarche.
Demarche.
Yeah.
Thank you, robot. Yes. So John Kirby getting in on this one here. The decision to summon Qin came, or is it Chin? I think
I thought
it's
it was
Chin.
Gang.
That's his first name.
They should call him Gang.
Okay, I'm just going to read the article.
Summon the
decision
gang.
to summon. Oh my gosh. The decision to summon Qin came after days of warnings to China not to escalate tensions in the region following the speaker's visit to the self-governing island, which the Chinese Communist Party regards as its territory, despite having never controlled it. It represents a shift from the White House's attitude about the trip before it occurred, when officials privately tried to warn Pelosi over the possible consequences of the visit and how it could harm U.S.-China relations. The meeting was first reported by the Washington Post. Yeah, so surprise, surprise, everybody was telling Pelosi that this would have consequences and harm the relationship, and whoa, look at that. It did.
Yeah, it seems kind of planned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is all part of the plan to start a Ukraine-style aid campaign, military aid campaign to Taiwan. Yeah. In the days since Pelosi left Taiwan, China has taken multiple bellicose steps, both diplomatically and militarily. On the diplomatic front, Beijing is sanctioning Pelosi and her immediate family. Sanctions!
We need a sanctioned kind of jingle. So anytime anybody gets sanctioned, we get sanctioned.
You done got sanctioned! I give these awesome sound clips when we request a jingle.
Sure.
And very rarely has anybody taken the actual soundbite? I give them.
Yes, they do.
Occasionally.
You don't give them enough credit.
Continue. No, they're great. I'm just saying. You don't tell me to continue. I tell you to continue. On the diplomatic front, Beijing is sanctioning Pelosi and her immediate family and said Friday it would suspend cooperation with Washington on several issues, including combating the climate crisis. Oh, no, Pelosi. Pelosi's a climate criminal.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. All the airplanes and all that fuel being used to go to Taiwan. Well,
she was that already, but now her actions, her reckless actions, have led China to back out of our climate accords or whatever. The pause in climate talks between the U.S. and China is symbolically significant. I love it. Yeah. It's symbolically significant,
yeah.
Cons.
Not actually
there's no real significance. It's just symbolically significance for the two nations' bilateral relationship, because the climate crisis was one of the few areas the U.S. and China had continued to cooperate on in recent years, even during times of heightened geopolitical tension. The U.S. and China announced and then it goes. It just talks about the climate stuff for a while. They're not talking about the military actions. They're not talking about the missiles. We'll talk about the missiles. They're not talking about the World War III level event that Pelosi got in the way of. No. It's just, the climate agreements. Oh, no. So here we go. Taiwan's defense ministry said Chinese warships and aircraft conducted drills in waters around the island, and that Chinese forces crossed the median line, the halfway point between the island and mainland China, in a move the ministry called highly provocative act. 2 Chinese drones also flew close to Japan on Thursday, prompting the country's air self-defense force to scramble fighter jets in response, according to a statement from Tokyo's Ministry of Defense. Kirby said the White House told Chin the U.S. does not want a crisis in the region, and reiterated that there has been no change in the U.S.'s one China policy. This is very interesting because we've literally had Pelosi saying the words like, we will defend the Taiwanese democracy against China. Pelosi has been so explicit about speaking against the one China policy. And for those who don't know, the one China policy is sort of the status quo of the White House of just being like, yeah, Taiwan and China, they're governed separately, but they're technically the same country. But we'll just deal with Taiwan ourselves. And, this kind of weird on the fence type of policy. But even Biden himself has spoken out against it. It's just this total disaster of a policy, especially when you have wild cards like Biden and Nancy Pelosi. But anyways, they just keep saying, oh, yeah, don't worry, it's still one China policy. Quote, we also made clear that the United States is prepared for what Beijing chooses to do. We will not seek and do not want a crisis. At the same time, we will not be deterred from operating in the seas and skies of the Western Pacific, consistent with international law, as we have for decades, supporting Taiwan and defending a free and open Indo-Pacific, Kirby said in the statement. NSC Coordinator for Indo-Pacific Affairs, Kirk Campbell, met with Jin, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They kind of just repeat themselves over and over here.
Yeah.
So there you go. Things are heating up, Gons, as predicted. Nobody should be too surprised about this, but not just in the sort of political sense. Did you want to talk about batteries for a second?
Sure, I guess. Yeah, this is a...
Well, you had it here.
Yeah, Yahoo News, mirroring NextShark. And the headline is, U.S. handed green battery tech discovery worth millions of taxpayer dollars to China. Report reveals. See, I'm still of the opinion that this is, Pelosi just got like I don't know, maybe the Chinese gave her like a fake memo to go do all this stuff and then to trigger everything because China's like, hey, you know what? We got what we need already. Let's go ahead and start the geopolitical tensions. But anyway, here's what it says. The U.S. Department of Energy gave China the rights to a green battery capable of powering an entire house for decades, which cost millions of tax dollars to develop, according to a new report, which is... no surprises. Designed at the U.S. government lab near Seattle, the vanadium Redo flow battery was manufactured by a company in Washington state called Uni Energy Technologies until last year, when a DOE license transfer effectively sealed its fate to a Chinese company. The revelation comes from NPR, which investigated the matter in partnership with the Northwest News Network. They found that the DOE violated its own licensing policies. Quote, "This is technology made from taxpayer dollars." Joanne Skivaski, chief financial officer of Forever Energy, one of several U.S. companies that have been trying to obtain the license, told NPR, quote, "It was invented in a national lab. Now it's deployed in China, and it's held in China. To say it's frustrating is an understatement," end quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is significant, not only because of the history of American technology being stolen by China to the detriment of all basically the world, but also Americans.
But the U.S., yeah.
Yeah. But this battery apparently was some sort of miracle battery that would solve like a ton of the problems that were like not all, but a lot of the criticism of like Tesla, the batteries for solar systems, these types of things, is that the battery technology is actually, it's fine, but it's really not where it needs to be to like run the whole world on it. Yeah. Apparently this was the battery that like would have saved the earth from climate change and saved America from Chinese dependence on China for solar panels and solar batteries and things like that. And it was paid for, created, with U.S. tax dollars. We paid for it. And then the government just gave it to China. I don't know exactly what the business deal was, but yeah, they just gave it to China. So China has all the cool batteries, and here we are. So I think you're right. They got their batteries, and now they can. They don't need start launching missiles.
Yeah, they don't need the public facade of cooperation anymore. They got what they needed, and so yeah. And well, let's do this real quick with the
speaking of facade, this was the big one. Yeah, this was the big thing. This comes from the Telegraph, and the headline: China fires missiles over island of Taiwan, says Japan in what would mark serious escalation. China fired missiles over the island of Taiwan, the Japanese Defense Ministry has claimed, in what would mark a serious escalation at the start of a 4-day military exercise. Japan said it was presumed that the two missiles, which landed at 1605 and 1608, quote, flew over main island Taiwan. The Japanese Defense Ministry added that Chinese missiles were presumed to have landed in Japan's own exclusive economic zone. Neither China nor Taiwan have confirmed if the missiles flew over Taiwan. In total, the Chinese army launched 11 ballistic missiles into waters around Taiwan on Thursday as its largest military drills encircling the island began. Quote, the Ministry of National Defense stated that the Chinese Communist Party fired multiple Dongfeng series ballistic missiles into the surrounding waters of northeastern and southwestern Taiwan from approximately 1356 this afternoon, the Taiwanese Defense Ministry said in a brief statement. It later confirmed that 11 missiles had been fired, nearly double the number that were fired on July 1995 during the Third Taiwan Strait crisis. In response, Taiwan activated, quote, relevant defense systems, a senior military official said at a briefing. Taiwan's defense ministry condemns the irrational actions which undermine regional peace, the official said. Japan said that 5 ballistic missiles fired by China also appeared to have landed in its exclusive economic zone in the first such incident. Japanese Defense Minister Nobuo Kishi said it had lodged a protest via diplomatic routes. And there you go. Then it goes into some stuff that we've already talked about. But this is a pretty big deal. I mean, they've been sort of playing around in the Taiwan Strait and coming right up to the edge of Taiwan's, sea borders and stuff. They even crossed over, launched a couple missiles, almost hit a fishing boat or something. But the way it's interesting that Japan is kind of the one coming in and making these claims when Taiwan has not yet. But, flying ballistic missiles over the actual island of Taiwan, I mean, we're just there. I mean, this is basically just the beginning of World War III we're looking at.
Yep. It's, the one thing that is interesting that I'll point out is that before Pelosi made the trip, the big threat was, hey, we can shoot down Pelosi. We'll shoot her plane down, and then that'll start World War III. I just think it's interesting how all this military activity happens after she leaves. All the consequences are happening after she leaves, which is, again, I don't know. I'm not going to press too hard about the idea of Pelosi knowing.
They called her bluff. They called China's bluff. For sure.
Yeah. So, and Japan in particular, they've been very post World War II. They were very docile. Like they were like not very into military, not very into any kind of violence.
They were sort of restricted from having a military. And
in recent years, they've really kicked up the military once again, much to the opposition of the young people in Japan, which is not many. It's one of the fastest declining populations in the world. So, for Japan, I don't know. It's too easy to drag them into this conflict with China because they're right there regionally, and they have the support of the United States, kind of like. I don't know. I'm trying to make the Ukraine connection. What's the country that kind of borders Ukraine that's part of NATO or something? What, Poland? Or no, Poland isn't technically. I forget now. No, I'm losing my analogy.
I think Poland is NATO. Yeah.
Okay, so it's something like that where it's like, oh, if you mess with one of ours, then we're gonna intervene, kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
I think the sanctions on Pelosi are the most fun part. I don't know exactly what sanctioning Pelosi means. Because that's, and I don't know if this works so well with your theory, because we, of course, have a problem with U.S. politicians having business interests in China. Yeah. But if they're sanctioning Pelosi, they're kind of being like, oh, sorry, you can't do business with us anymore.
Well, they don't need her anymore.
Of course they don't. Yeah. Does she need them?
Maybe.
She's got all her insider training.
Yeah, she needs them for all the insider. That's probably why I'll go to Taiwan. Yeah, you want me to provoke a World War III? Sure, yes. Sure. Just keep my husband out of jail.
Speaking of Pelosi being sanctioned, I think somebody's sanctioned her brain. There's a couple of just fun videos floating around here. This one, why don't you just play it? This is Pelosi. She was kind of responding to some of the criticism for her Taiwan visit. And this is part of her response.
I said at a meeting earlier with the parliamentarians, in our earliest days of our founding of our country, Benjamin Franklin, our presidency, said, freedom and democracy. Freedom and democracy on one thing, security here. If we don't have, we can't have either if we don't have both. So, security, economic, security, economy, and again, they're all, and governance, they're all related, and we want Taiwan to always have freedom with security, and we're not backing away from that. Okay?
What in the world? What in the world
Security?
is she even saying?
There's democracy, and then there's freedom.
First of all, she references Benjamin Franklin and calls him the president.
Yeah, the presidency of
Benjamin Franklin's presidency, which
he was the secret
never
president. Everybody knows he was the secret president. Come on.
No, he was never the president. Apparently, maybe he was a secret president that only Nancy Pelosi knows about.
Right.
So, but I mean, that is outrageous. I mean, that's the kind of thing that like a man on the street from like a late night show or like a YouTube show, they'll ask somebody on the street, was Benjamin Franklin a president? And, people will say yes. And you're supposed to laugh at how stupid they are or whatever. That's the Speaker of the House who is taking using her own liberty to put the world at risk of World War III for seemingly no reason. The quote she was trying to quote was, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. But she had security. I think she had economy in there.
I don't know where the economy comes in. Just thinking about those NVIDIA purchases that her husband had to sell off because everyone was calling her out.
This is really, really disturbing to me. I mean, come on. After I read that NPR puff piece on Pelosi last episode, I was ready to be proud of her, and then this happens.
Sure.
But apparently, this was not the first time that she's tried to pull out this quote and completely butchered it. She did it in 2018. Let's play that clip.
Benjamin Franklin said, if we don't fight for private security and freedom, we won't have either. I want to particularly thank our ranking member on the Intelligence Committee. He has made us all proud going across the country, honoring our Constitution. You can end this if you want.
She kind of just goes on. Yeah, so she apparently has tried to make this quote several times, and she just can't quite get it right, which I don't think comes as a surprise considering the way she's, the types of policies that she is fighting for over there on the Hill.
Yeah. Well, this is our leadership right now in the country of the United States, and if you're outside of the country, pray for the United States.
Yeah,
we're in trouble.
Yeah,
we've been in trouble for a while. Sure. But
if you're inside the country, you need to be praying for the United States.
True.
We are in danger on so many levels.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have on Pelosi.
Okay, let's take a quick break here.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right, folks. We're taking a quick break to thank some producers. And I did say producers because we're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. No advertising, no affiliate codes, no platform partnerships, no nothing, baby. So, this is a cool part of what we do. It's one of the more sort of rebellious things that we do is not take any corporate money. It's sad that that is considered some sort of rebel cause, but the fact of the matter is, when corporate money gets involved in, quote, independent media, you start getting corporate interests involved. You got to stay brand friendly. You gotta pull the right narratives. And this show would just be literally impossible if we had to rely on corporate money. And there's lots of independent media out there that claim to be independent, and yet they are constantly getting money from corporations. And it might be an advertising corporation, but it also might be a bank. Or it might be, a Wall Street firm, or it might be some military-industrial complex actor. These types of things, and you just never know if your independent media is taking corporate money. There would be no way to know what part of that independent media is truly independent and what isn't. So here, to fix that problem, we just say no. We take zero corporate money whatsoever. And this is something we hope that the listeners of this show value in a way. A lot of people don't really care, actually. We get a lot of notes. So we're just wishing that we would play advertisements, just begging us to, let corporations psychologically manipulate them into spending money they don't have on things they don't need for their own personal gain. And you know what? Call me hard-headed, Gons, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're on the value for value model, which is simple. If you out there get any value from this show, it's your responsibility to put value back in. And that can come in many forms. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And we're going to thank some of the producers who came in and shared some value back with the show. These are the people who are making your show happen. And not only should we be thankful for them, but we should let them inspire us to participate in the value for value model as well. Gons, are you ready to thank them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're going to start out with, this is producer Sir Egorius, Knight of the Squatting Slavs.
Hey, good
He's
to see you.
back, baby. What's up, Sir Egorius? Gons, my supply drop you sent me came in yesterday. Opened it up. It was very fun, very exciting. And in all of the supply drops, there's a couple of random stickers and stuff that most of them were created by Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia. And the stickers I got for this supply drop were Stock Talk with Mr. Gox and
got mine here.
Squatting Slavs.
Yeah, mine's on the wall there. I'm not going to pull it down right now, but yes.
Yeah. So Sir Egorius kind of, he's got his own sticker that goes out in the supply drops. Thank you very much, Sir Egorius, Knight of the Squatting Slavs. He comes in with $66.60.
Ooh. We don't have a thing for that.
Simply says Friday.
It's Friday.
There you go. We can keep playing with the Friday thing.
Thank you, Sir Egorius.
Thank you very much. Next up, we got Lady Night Little Wing coming in.
Thank you, Lady Night Little Wing.
Thank you very much.
Good to see
Producer Lady Night Little Wing coming in with a nice round number, which is a good time to remind everyone, if you don't mind us not disclaiming, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. If you don't mind us reading the amount that you come in with, you make a funky number. Use like Sir Egorius 6660, or you can put 33 cents or 77 cents or something. Just make it a funky number that lets us know you don't mind us reading your support amount. Lady Night Little Wing comes in with a nice even number, so we're not going to read that. Thank you very much, producer Lady Night Little Wing.
Thank you.
Disclosing is the word I was looking for. Thank you, a quiet watcher. Next up, we've got producer Morv on the 1, 2, 3 streak.
Yeah! Thank you so much.
Thank you, Morv.
That's right. Morv comes in with $10.30. Thank you very much, producer Morv.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we've got producer Dame Sarah of the Shadows.
Good to see you, Dame Sarah. Thank you.
And let me see. I'm going to double check Dame Sarah's amount here. Okay. It came in as 1041.
Yeah, I saw that.
I wonder if she came in
is it
on a link tree
with some fees, or is it just a number to signal the Chinese Freemasons?
That's probably it. That's probably it. I'm checking the transaction real quick because if she came through Linktree, then yes, it was. I think she maybe meant to come in through 1111, and the Linktree fees are strange, but who knows?
Well, we can give it to her. Thank you, Dame Sarah.
It's hard to tell. Thank you, Dame Sarah, the Shadows. A note here. My dear Canary Cry family, I'm sorry that this is all I have to give.
No, don't apologize.
I need to be sorry. Yeah. That's the thing about producing. You put your own number on it. And, it's not about the amount necessarily. It's kind of like the woman at the temple type of thing there. Whatever you're able to give, it's very meaningful. She goes on, but I give it joyfully because I get so much value out of listening. From the news to the jingles to the art to the community, I love it all. I wish I could actually give what I think you're worth, but the grocery shopping keeps getting more and more expensive. Don't I know it? Yeah. Please keep spreading God's joy. Much love, Dame Sarah of the Shadows. Thank you very much, Dame Sarah.
Thank you, Dame Sarah.
Next up, we got Benjamin S.
Benjamin S.
Thank you. Benjamin S. is back. Comes in with a nice round number. A note that says, just want to make my drop this week. No need to post the note. Well, whoops. Bless you guys. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he says, what's up to me? Thank you very much, Benjamin S.
Thank you, Benjamin
Appreciate
S. Appreciate it.
Next up, we did get Sir JC Night of the Techno Squatch on a 135 episode streak.
Ooh. Is it a 1001?
Yes, it is.
1001. Amen.
That's right. And he says, praise God for the ministry that you two provide. I would not be the Christian I am today without the edification that Canary Cry, Ravel, AOD, and all other CC content provide. Wow. What a nice thing to say. Thank you very much, JC. Sir JC, of course, not of the Techno Squatch. Next up, we got Gail M on a 154 episode streak.
Women rule.
And a note that says, it's 7777 she comes in for. And a note that says, hola mi chicos dolce, the CCNT family would like to send Sir Sentinel a token of our love from the Gail's Gratitude grab bag, if possible. So please email me with the details. So, she's talking about the Sentinel, I think.
Yeah.
I have not heard from the Sentinel recently. I've not seen him around.
Episodes, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. The Sentinel. So the Sentinel is in Ukraine right now.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly how easy it will be to send him something, but the Sentinel, if you're listening, email Canary. Is it Canary Cry Peeps or Canary Peeps?
I think
it's just Canary Peeps at yahoo.com. Canary Peeps, Peeps at yahoo.com. And Gail and the family would like to send you something. That's fun.
There you go.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
Okay, that might conclude our list of producers for this episode. A small group, but a lovely group.
Well, the producer's coming in over $7.77.
Right.
Yeah.
So that I'm doing a little refresh. Yep, that does conclude the list of financial producers who came in over $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we've got a few under that, which we will thank later. But until then, thank you all for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Come on, load. Beast system.
Speaking of the beast system. Beast system.
Scientist pig!
Uh-oh. Trouble.
Whoops.
This is why we have producers and not advertisers, because we can get in trouble. We got some interesting things coming out of Israel. You know, we've always looked at Israel and their advanced technology. People have talked about how Israel is sort of a Silicon Valley 2.0, and I think we're seeing more and more of it. This is from biometricupdate.com, and the headline here: Feeling stressed? Trust us. You are. Pangea develops biometric psychophysiological analysis. Okay. I guess we should trust them. An Israeli digital ID software maker says it has acquired a sensor startup's assets, with which to build face biometric products capable of performing remote psychophysiological analysis of people.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, that
was always the problem, is to do psychophysiological analysis. They had to get up in your grill. They had to feel you up at the airport. They had to do all sorts of nasty things. Implant microchips now. Now they can just do it from afar.
Pangea IT, that's the name of the company, says it picked the assets of sensority, including liveness detection and visual stress analysis. Executives say they will incorporate the technology into their software as a service line. The technology, according to Pangea, can be used to spot psychological stress in real time when a person is asked questions of visual lie detector. The same system can identify a deepfake, the company says. The sensors and AI algorithms can monitor 100...
That's interesting. Is a deepfake? Is a deepfake not able to make real human... stress signals or something?
I don't know. Maybe it's not as accurate. Yeah. The sensors and AI algorithms can monitor 100 psychophysiological parameters and gauge stress. Although it is unclear what it can diagnose other than perhaps baseline stress, the company says its product has a diagnostic accuracy of 93.4%. It also is unclear how accuracy was judged. Okay. There's no description of how the technology works, though it sounds similar to biometric deepfake detection ideas involving the flush of blood across a person's face with each heartbeat. It is too subtle to be picked up by people, but high-quality cameras feeding into specialized algorithms are said to be able to spot deepfakes which do not have pulses. Oh, interesting. They're looking for the pulse. But, that's one thing that the deepfake can now do. They can just create pulses to make it look more real.
Well, it's the classic arms race between, an attack and the defense manufacturers. So you've got the deep fakes getting better and better, and you've got the defenders getting, trying to keep up type of thing.
With the sensors, Pangea executives say they can detect people impersonating someone else and ID theft. They say their systems can be deployed for border control roles.
Oh, yes. It's all about control of the people, of course.
Yeah, never about
I think it's
benefit.
interesting the way that it's being, and the fact that it's Israel and they're focusing on border control is no surprise. Yeah. It's interesting. They're kind of using the same types of rhetoric that FLIPPY manufacturers will use, that robotics manufacturers will use, which is, we're here to just make sure nobody gets fooled by deep fakes, but also we can read your emotions and tell when you're stressed, and also protect your borders. So don't worry, citizens, just ignore the cameras on your street signs.
Which, by the way, we don't have the stories, but I think there was another something blew up in Palestine, maybe Gaza, I think it was. Another missile or something. So good timing with all of this.
Yeah, they're going to war.
Yeah, you want to do this other one here?
Oh, we're all done with that one. Okay.
Yeah. We'll just keep going because it's there's not. it's all kind of a package here.
We're just cruising. Yes, this one comes from Times of Israel. Israeli scientists developing, this is great, scientists developing precision viruses that kill bowel-harming bacteria. Oh, good. We need some precision viruses. Here, if you have a tummy ache, take some precision viruses. Israeli scientists are working to develop a precision weapon against bowel disorders consisting of viruses that fight bacteria. 2 different virus cocktails have undergone phase 1 clinical trials with initial results indicating that they are safe.
Oh, good.
Okay. Phase 1. safe. The extensive in vitro and animal testing suggesting that they fight bacteria. I don't like the word suggesting in there. Suggesting that they fight bacteria. Peer-reviewed research published in the journal Cell states that the virus effectively reduced the count of Klebsiella pneumoniae, a bacteria that is found in large quantities in the guts of people with Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. Quote, to our knowledge, this constitutes the first silver bullet approach, promising a precise suppression of disease-causing gut microbes without harming the surrounding microbiome, said Professor Aran Elenav of Weizmann in viruses and medicines to fight bacteria, known as bacteriophages, or phage therapy, isn't new and was intensely researched in the early 20th century. However, before any significant successes, antibiotics were invented and attempts at clinical uses of viruses were largely abandoned. Those scientists continued to use phages in laboratory settings. You know, the phages concept came back with a vengeance a few years ago.
Yeah.
They were even talking about these microphages or bacteriophages at some lectures in Burning Man. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay, good. We got some little assassin viruses, precision viruses that will just go in and kill the bad stuff and leave the good stuff. This seems totally safe. What could possibly go wrong?
It will kill.
It's got an aspect to it similar to the necrobotics type thing, where or maybe it's not the necrobotics. Oh, man. Wow. I just lost my train of thought so hard. Anyways, man, it's kind of like a little nanobot. Oh, that's what it was. You know, it's kind of like the idea that everybody's so excited about, that we can make nanobots to deliver medications in exactly the right spaces in your body, and they can cross the blood-brain barrier and help your brain work. But instead of nanobots sort of produced in a factory, they're viruses. And viruses are interesting. I guess that's what I mean. It is like a type of necrobotics. You're like using the bodies of a biological object to do something that you want robots to do.
Yeah, although I guess there's not like a direct, they're not using it like a puppet, are they? There's not like a robot arm that is, or a little nanobot.
But viruses aren't technically alive either. Yeah. So they are, it is a sort of zombie going in there and doing what they, the little bot would do. But perhaps they're not controlling it like a puppet, but they are creating it in a lab. I mean, they're building. It's like an autonomous necrobot. There we go. The little viruses are like an autonomous necrobot that certainly will not result in taking over people's brains and turning everybody into some sort of controlled ambling zombie.
Sure. Yeah. And part of Israel being ahead of this, Israel was also the place where they had the super surveillance launch.
Yes.
So,
right.
This is a good sort of, both ends. It's like, hey, we're going to do sewer surveillance, of course, for COVID, but, for other things too. And maybe people that are having issues, they can be called out and they can take the silver bullet to take care of it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then the other, the facial recognition software will see that you are unhappy about the decision and blow you up.
Yeah. Well, for those who might be new to the show or haven't been around for too long, it's always valuable, specifically paying attention to the technology coming out of Israel.
Yeah.
Like specifically the tech sector. They've got a very robust tech sector. And if you kind of want to know what the next big thing in the world will be, you look at the Israeli tech sector. Yeah. This was true with spyware, with Pegasus, with the malware that's, stole all the information of Jeff Bezos and, some Saudi prince and stuff, as well as sewer surveillance was another one. But what was the other? There was one more that was just huge recently.
All the COVID vaccine stuff, the negative press on the vaccines came out of Israel, and remember Fauci and others saying like, well, we can't use Israel's data, so
the Israeli data, yeah. So it's always interesting checking back in with the Israeli tech sector.
Yeah, and speaking of technology,
welcome to the metaverse.
It's your favorite topic, Basil. It's the metaverse.
Huzzah!
Geospatialworld.net. Yeah. The headline here: what is military metaverse, and how is it different from commercial metaverse? Oh, military metaverse. I like the header image here. It's like a guy playing. What is that? Looks like. What's that game with the guns? I sound like
game with the guns. It's like playing Call of Duty or something.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to think. Yeah, all these military guys in their camo gear, sitting on computers playing.
If this is what the military is going to be like, I think I could. I think I could handle that.
Yeah, fit right in.
Yeah, just sit at a laptop all day and play Call of Duty.
Yeah, it says here, let's see, innovations on military side is a microcosm for what could become of the metaverse, feels Pete Morrison, CCO at BIS or BISIM or BISM.
I love that. We got it. Oh, you're making a sort of digital universe that kids will spend most of their time in, and is going to revolutionize the way that human beings interact with each other in the world. Let's take the inspiration from the military. Yay!
For years, different military programs have worked to combine, quote, models, simulations, people, and real equipment into a common representation of the world, end quote. The U.S. Army has established the STE cross-functional team to develop a, quote, common synthetic environment for simulations and training. Pete Morrison, CCO at BISM, believes this military innovation is a microcosm for what could become the metaverse. Quote, a military metaverse will focus on training, experimentation, and mission rehearsal. The fundamental difference to other commercial metaverses will be that it aims to deliver a high-fidelity digital twin of the real world. BISM, or Bohemia Interactive Simulations.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Has been focused on the under the hood of developing the military metaverse, helping different technologies on separate terrain data interact more seamlessly. The company is involved with both the U.S. Army STE and UK Mod SSE, converting its military simulations to run on new scalability architectures. It also provides its flagship product, VBS4. And
Vacation Bible School?
Vacation Bible School 4. And they're getting them young, recruiting them young. VBS Blue IG. What is that? Vacation Bible School Blue Instagram? What is going on here? For training interaction within the military metaverse. Further, BISM's Mantle Enterprise Terrain Management Platform allows developers to import, manage, combine, procedurally enhance, and stream high-fidelity, geo-specific terrain into military or enterprise metaverses.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, this new
That's
terrain
quite
technology
a mouthful.
Is already commercially available and will address some of the roadblocks to the military metaverse by helping move procedural generation onto the cloud. And then it goes into the interview, the back and forth between this guy and the outlet here, which we won't go through here, but there's to nail down the point. Here, the question was, you say military innovation is a microcosm for what could become the metaverse. Could you elaborate? And of course, he says, ultimately, the military needs a digital twin of the Earth with real-world fidelity and real-world density. And, we always boast, Basil, what is up with this spammer? I cannot block the spammer. I've put him in the Restream block list like 4 times and it keeps coming back.
I've done it too. It's a different guy in the chat, by the way. For those who are just listening to the podcast, there's a spammer in the chat, but he keeps coming back with a different name.
Yeah, okay. So, we often, part jokingly, but also, just for fun, talk, but also accurately in a sense too. We talk about what we spoke on years ago and how it's all coming to the public front now, and how we were ahead of the game and talking about certain topics. And the metaverse itself was something that we didn't call it the metaverse at the time, but we did an episode almost exactly 10 years ago, a decade ago, Basil. Wow, this is a long time ago.
What was the date on it?
August 31st, 2012 was when Canary Cry Radio episode 25 was published, and the title of that episode, The Sentient World Simulation. Mm-hmm. And we talked about the idea of creating a digital twin in this digital virtual world that can become sort of a testing ground for what could take place in the real meat space.
Yeah, and it included making basically a perfect representation of the Earth, a perfect digital representation of every person alive, including using all of their data to sort of empower an AI version of them. So basically recreate the world the entire world as it exists now, but in a simulated digital fashion. And that way you can throw different circumstances at the world and get a fairly good idea about how the world would react. And not just the world, but even individual people, countries, businesses, things like that.
I wonder if they plugged in the Pelosi simulation.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like, well,
I mean,
things can go.
It does bump up against what we've sort of always had as a working sort of thesis, working system, working ideas, that by the time we hear about these things, somebody high up is already using them regularly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's hilarious. Now this is just some company's business plan is to do the exact thing that a couple of crazy conspiracy theorist podcasters talked about in 2012.
Yeah, and we actually sourced the 2005 Department of Defense I think paper. Yeah, there's a paper in here. I don't know if the link is still active. But the other thing to point out, this was the episode where you did the episode art, and it's literally the exact thing that we started seeing when coronavirus, the COVID-19 started to get really, spreaded around the world, where they had these big red blotches and bubbles.
It's like a world map with the pins, the little map pins in it all over the place.
Yeah. So anyway, we were ahead of the game, man.
Oh no! I mean, it just says it right there. It's like literally, and the timing is good too, because to really make headway on a company and a technology like this, you would have had to start about 10 years ago. And it's like these guys listened to our episode and said, "Hey, that's actually a pretty good idea," and started it up. Along these lines, I put a link in there, Gons.
Okay.
For somebody sent me this thread, which was very interesting, and I'm going to thank them right now.
Twitter threads.
And that is UCC at Chewinporg on Twitter. Sent us this thread. Thank you very much. I wasn't planning on bringing it to the show, but it fits into this perfectly. And this is kind of a thread, a breakdown on a company called Elbit Systems. It's from a Twitter account called the Mapping Project, and basically it's this Elbit Systems, this company, who is flying drones all over the world, basically, and is mapping out everything, making a perfect digital representation down to sort of the ground level. And I believe it's an Israeli company. Yeah, Elbit Systems is Israel's largest weapons developer. As of 2015, Elbit was supplying 85% of Israel's total UAS, unmanned aircraft systems, or drones. Indeed, Elbit's website has boasted that its Hermes 450 drone is the backbone of Israel's fleet.
Hermes, like Hermes Trismegistus. Or Toth. Yeah, there's a cult reference there.
So again, we were talking about the Israeli, sort of technology space being the biggest, or maybe not the biggest, but it's kind of like a dark horse industry where they develop the most intense technologies that, as we see it, sort of make up the backbone not just of Israel's military, but of the sort of beast system as a whole. And so, yeah, you've got this Israeli company that is mapping everything all the time, and that could be used for the metaverse, military metaverse, then turning into the sentient world simulation that can be used by elite lizard people to plan out our future. It's really coming all together. It's very nice.
It's got a list of governments that have purchased Elbit's battle-proven products. You got Brazil,
oh, it's
Chile,
all the big ones.
Philippines, South Korea, India, Myanmar,
Myanmar,
Colombia, Honduras. Yeah, this is a big, long list.
Azerbaijan. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Resistance against
so there you go.
Elbit.
That's great. So I'm glad the military is working on, making a supercomputer simulation of the entire world, so they can train their soldiers in exactly how real individuals will respond to their tactics.
And this becomes sort of an Ender's Game situation where if you're in the metaverse and carrying out missions, you think it's training, but perhaps you have avatar robot, whatever, drones or whatever you want to call it, out there in the real world
perhaps.
doing things.
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
times, man.
Yeah.
It's time for a break.
Mm-hmm. We got a second break here where we thank some people that came under the $7.77. What is it? Barrier.
We're going to do that real
line?
quick. I thought we were going to do voicemails first.
Oh, usually you push the voicemails till after, so I was assuming that you would do that. But if you want to do voicemails first, we can. But what would you like to do?
I don't know about all that, but yeah, okay. Let's just thank these people real quick.
Okay.
Yes, we have a few more producers to thank. Came in under $7.77, and I'll thank them now, starting with Runk Smash on a 15-episode streak.
Runk Smash. And 15, you're Rocket Man.
Rocket Man. Burning out his fuse out here alone.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
That's right. And, of course, we've got Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 178 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Mm-hmm. We've got Veronica D, 154 episodes in a row.
Women rule.
Thank you,
Sir
Veronica
Casey
D.
the Shield Knight, the streak, the streak setter, 189 episodes in a row.
Wow. Thank you, Sir Casey.
He's just rocketing towards 200 episodes in a row. It's crazy. Last but not least, we got Darren S., 28 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you very much. That concludes our list of financial producers for today, and thank you for your patronage.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message. Go to canarycrynewstalk.com, anywhere on the website. If you're on your phone, if you're on mobile, or I guess mobile is phone. If you're on your desktop, look for a little green tab, and it will ask you to record something. Then we will. This is your pitch, man.
I like just kind of keeping quiet and seeing what happens.
Well,
when
this is like your thing. When it's your thing, and then you don't talk, I felt compelled to step in and do something.
I got distracted.
Yeah, sure.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. There will be a green tab on the side of the bottom. Click on that. You can leave us a message. You're giving us permission to play the message, but it's not guaranteed.
Sure. We got one from Wandering Spirit Michael.
Hey, guys, I was just wondering, how did you two meet? And how'd you guys start this whole podcast show together? What's the quick story on that?
What is the quick story? Well,
we've told the story a couple times, but I'm happy to do it because there's always new people.
Yeah.
We were working at a mega church together.
Yeah.
In the tech department. You were doing sound stuff. I was doing video stuff. And they had us working in the same room for a while, which was a big mistake.
Yeah.
And we worked kind of back to back, like our desks faced in opposite directions. Yeah, back to back for a few months. And we really didn't even talk to each other. We didn't really know each other. We're both kind of quiet when we're at work or whatever. And we did that for quite some time. And then it was at a staff meeting.
Yeah, it was like a staff Bible study type thing.
It was a staff Bible study. And for some reason, the subject of the Occupy Wall Street protests, I don't know if y'all remember that, but there's the Occupy Wall Street protests came up. And I don't even remember what triggered us, but both of us started rambling about the Occupy Wall Street protests, and we kind of looked at each other like, oh my gosh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And the rest of the staff Bible study was like, oh my gosh, these tech guys are so annoying. And after that, we just start talking every day during work. As we're working, we're just chatting about random stuff. Started with like politics and the economy and Obamacare and Obama and all these things, and then
it was the heart
eventually
of Obama.
went into what?
It was during the heart of Obama's reign, 2010, 11, something like that.
Something like that. And then eventually it got into Nephilim and everything. And I didn't know, you had just put out the Age of Deceit 1 documentary.
Right. Yeah.
And I had never heard of it. I didn't know about it. You were like, oh, and I made this movie. You should take a look at it. I was like, okay. And I go home and I pull it up and it's like, it's already at like 1 million views or something. I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So this guy does have a lot to say. And the rest is kind of history. I don't think there's any. We started. Yeah. A Future Quake was ending.
Right.
Which
that's
again
the
at
catalyst.
the time I had never listened to Future Quake. You were kind of like, this podcast Future Quake is ending, and I think we should start a podcast. And I was like,
we were having good conversations. So I remember telling you, like, we would just record the conversations basically that we were having. So
right,
nothing too crazy or anything like that. But that's how it got started.
That was the idea. We were just going to record the conversations that we were just having during our workday, put it out as a podcast. We started by recording it on church property, like using church equipment, and we asked permission. Did we ask permission?
We did. Yeah, we did, and we got permission, and they still got permission.
Yeah, to use church equipment to record the first episode. Maybe we got a second one in. But the second our boss listened to our podcast, they're like, no, his exact words were, this isn't kingdom work.
Yeah.
And then took away our permission to record on church.
It's hilarious because I still remember while we were recording, there's a big edit in episode 001 of Canary Cry Radio because while we're talking, our boss, our doors had like the little window in it. And I just so clearly, I remember his face just in that window.
Popping in the window. I remember that.
Just horror and like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, he was not very stoked about that.
No.
So that's how it started. We got in trouble for it, and then we started recording not with church technology.
Yeah.
And we were, it's really funny, when we started, I was literally recording the podcast for years on like a cheap Best Buy like headset, USB headset as a mic. I wasn't even using a real microphone for the longest time.
Yeah, I remember that. You were in your garage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we didn't, we didn't make any money from it really. So I was a broke, just out of college person. So I had $30 to spend on a microphone. So that's the fun thing. That's kind of how it started.
Yep.
And
Thank
here
you for the
we
question.
are.
Yeah, here we are.
10 years later.
Yeah, it's been a good run so far.
So far.
Thank you for the question, Wandering Spirit Michael, and hopefully that I don't know, inspires you to do your own podcast. That's kind of
it's that easy. People ask us all the time, how to do it. Here's the thing. We kind of had to learn it the hard way over 10 years. Now there's like a lot of great advice for people starting podcasts. But the hardest thing about getting a successful podcast going is not any of the strategies or the marketing or the editing or even the content, really. The hardest thing is being consistent and sticking with it.
Yeah.
It's really just like anything else, anything else, you just got to do it for 10 years. and then it can like work.
Right. Yeah, there's some people in the chat that have been around for a while, and I saw Quantum Epic talk about, you were sleeping in the closet at the church. I mean, there's like all kinds of stuff that happened.
Oh,
we don't have time for
lots
all
of
that
more
right now,
fun
but
details. We tell these stories every so often. If you go listen through the Canary Cry radio catalog. Remember, you're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Canary Cry Radio is our interview style show that we did for a long time. Still technically do. Haven't done one in a couple years. But our Joyspiracy Theory episode, lots of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that
very
question.
much. Who sent that in? What's the name?
Wandering Spirit Michael.
Wandering Spirit Mike.
Yeah. We also have a message from Rochelle.
Happy Friday, Canarians. I just want to comment, Basil and Gons, your show is great. And hey, producers, you all have been stepping up to the plate. Thank you so much. Anyway, a friend of mine was reading Psalm 11 and mentioned how we referred to it often. So, I took that as a sign and a really good reason to sing it. So this is Psalm 11. I trust in the Lord for protection. Why would you say fly in the mountains' direction? The wicked string their bows, fitting their arrows, aiming and shooting from the shadows at those whose hearts were humbled from when the foundations crumbled. But the Lord from his heavenly temple watches the wise and the simple, examining the wicked and the righteous, hating those who love the violence. He will rain down blazing coals on the wicked. With the scorching winds they will be afflicted. For the righteous Lord loves justice, showing his face to the virtuous among us. So trust in the Lord for protection, and fly with the wood for direction. Amen.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Amen. Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Appreciate it. Beautiful as always. And I think that's it for all the messages.
Okay.
So, yeah, time to wake up.
Love it.
I think we're going to say bye to the YouTubers, too, because we got to talk about some vaccines and pox and stuff.
We're going to get into the COVID. We're going to get into the monkeypox. All stuff Susan over at YouTube does not like us talking about. So if you are watching or listening on YouTube live here, what you need to do is head on over to canarycry.party. You can find links to the D Live or the Rumble or the Twitch or whatever. Those are the places to watch the full show. So we hope you jump on over there, catch the rest of the show, because what follows is too hot for YouTube.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, you can find all those links at canarycry.party as well. Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube.
Now you see me. Now you don't.
It's Corona time.
COVID-19. COVID-19. COVID-19.
COVID-19. Yes.
COVID-19. COVID-19. Vaccine.